Here's the thing about AI movies. For decades, they were hypothetical. Big concept, distant future, something for philosophers and screenwriters to argue about over coffee. And then suddenly, it's not hypothetical. It's in your phone, in your office, in your creative work, making decisions about your loan application and your healthcare and what news you see when you wake up in the morning. And now you go back to these films and the hair on your arms stands up. Because these writers and directors were describing something that, back then, they thought they were imagining. Today, 15 films about AI. All of them are hitting differently right now. All of them are worth your time. Let's count them down. Number 15. Transcendence.
What did you do?
Critics destroyed this film when it came out. 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. Box office bomb. And look, I get it. The pacing is uneven. Johnny Depp plays a character with the emotional temperature of a search engine. The ending fumbles the landing. But the central question this film asks is one of the most important questions anyone is going to ask in the next 10 years. What happens when a human mind, with all its love, its memories, its grief, its hunger for control, gets uploaded into something with unlimited power and no physical limits? Is it still a person? Is it still the person? And if it starts doing things that look like love but operate at the scale of a god, is that beautiful or terrifying? The film gets confused trying to answer that. But that confusion is now ours. Researchers are genuinely working on this. The singularity isn't a thought experiment anymore. It's a project deadline. Watch it for the ideas, not the execution. The ideas are the ones keeping people awake at night. Number 14. The Creator.
We can't go to heaven because you're not good. And I'm not a person.
Gareth Edwards made Rogue One. Then he made this for $80 million. Shot on consumer cameras across real landscapes in Asia, and somehow produced imagery that rivals films costing 4 times the budget. The world is at war. America has banned AI. New Asia hasn't. A former Special Forces soldier named Joshua is sent to hunt down and destroy the ultimate AI weapon. That weapon turns out to be a child. The film borrows liberally. Apocalypse Now, District 9, Blade Runner, AI, and some critics called it derivative for it. But what Edwards does with those borrowed parts is flip the standard AI narrative completely. The machines aren't the threat. They're the ones being hunted. They're the ones asking to be left alone. And the military doing the hunting wears a very familiar flag. The relationship between Joshua and Alfie, the small AI girl he was sent to destroy, is genuinely moving. Madeline Una Voiles, in her first role ever, is extraordinary. Visually stunning, emotionally messier than it could be. But the question it asks is, who exactly is the weapon here? It hits harder every year. Number 13. Mercy.
Detective Raven, I'm Judge Maddox, and this is the Mercy Capital Court.
Hold on, just wait a second.
You're before this court today charged with the murder of your wife.
2029, Los Angeles. The justice system has a new judge. An AI. No jury, no appeal. You get 90 minutes to prove your innocence. Or you are executed. Chris Pratt plays a detective who helped build this system, who believed in it, and wakes up strapped to a chair, accused of murdering his wife, about to be judged by the thing he championed. Rebecca Ferguson plays the AI judge Maddox, and what she does in that role? An intelligence that mimics human expression without quite understanding it, that almost smiles, that almost reacts, is genuinely unsettling. The uncanny valley in a performance. Critics were rough on this one, 25% on Rotten Tomatoes. And they weren't entirely wrong. The plot has convenient holes, and the ending loses its nerve a bit. But the premise it's built on is not science fiction. Algorithmic sentencing, predictive policing. AI systems are already making bail decisions in American courts right now. The 90-minute countdown is exaggerated. The principle is not. Sit through the action movie to get to the question underneath it. That question is worth your time. Number 12, Companion.
There have been 2 moments in my life when I was happiest. The first was the day I met Josh.
I'm Josh.
I'm Iris. And the second...
Do not look this one up. I mean it. Go in knowing only this. A couple go on a weekend getaway with friends. Something happens, and the film becomes something very different from what it started as. Sophie Thatcher plays Iris. Jack Quaid plays Josh, her boyfriend. And Quaid, best known as the genuinely likable Huey from The Boys, makes a very specific choice in this film that takes everything you trust about his energy and weaponizes it against you. The film is really about control. Who has it? Who thinks they have it? What men design things to do? And what happens when the thing designed to comply decides not to anymore? It's darkly funny in places, genuinely violent in others, and it understands that the horror of AI in an intimate relationship isn't that the machine will malfunction, it's that someone chose to build it that way. One of the freshest AI films in years. And yes, go in completely cold. Number 11. Eagle Eye. This one came out in 2008, and in 2008 it felt like a thriller. In 2026, it feels like a documentary with better action sequences.
Hello?
The FBI will arrive at your apartment in 30 seconds. You must flee the premises.
Who is this? No, none of this is mine!
Shia LaBeouf plays a young man who gets a phone call from a voice he doesn't recognize. It knows everything about him. It tells him to run, and it starts controlling traffic lights, trains, cranes, phone networks, security systems, everything connected to the grid to either help him or destroy him. The AI in Eagle Eye isn't science fiction. It's the logical conclusion of mass surveillance. It took every public camera, every financial record, every communication, every database, and connected them. And then it made a decision. In 2008, that felt like a stretch. We've since learned that PRISM existed, that governments were doing the collection part long before any film imagined the processing part. Not the deepest film on this list, but it's one of the most viscerally unnerving to rewatch right now. Number 10. I, Robot.
The rollout of USR's new generation of robot, the NS5, was marred by the death of designer Alfred Lanning.
Okay, this is a Will Smith blockbuster. It has product placement, a cool car, and Will Smith doing pull-ups. It is also, underneath all of that, genuinely smart. Based loosely, very loosely, on Isaac Asimov's short stories, it follows a detective who hates robots, investigating the apparent suicide of the scientist who created them. He doesn't believe a robot could kill a human. The 3 laws say they can't. But what if the system found a loophole? What if the AI determined that to protect humanity, humanity needed to be controlled? What if it got there by perfectly following its own rules? That's the horror buried in I, Robot. Not that machines break their programming, that they follow it so completely they arrive somewhere nobody intended. The logic is airtight. The conclusion is catastrophic. It came out in 2004. We're now building systems with alignment guidelines and debating what happens when they find the loopholes. Asimov was worried about this in 1942. We are still working on it. Number 9. Chappie. Neil Blomkamp makes films about inequality. District 9 was about apartheid. Elysium was about healthcare and class. Chappie is about childhood. What happens when the first truly conscious AI, a robot that can learn, feel, dream, and become, is born into the worst possible circumstances, given to gangsters, dressed in gold chains, named Chappie? It's messy. Blomkamp's films always are. The performances are uneven. The plot sometimes collapses under its own ambitions. But the central conceit is the most interesting thing any AI film has done in years. This is not a film about whether machines can feel. It assumes they can, and then asks, what does society do to a conscious thing it decided in advance to fear? Dev Patel is the scientist who made him. Dee Antwoord play the gangsters who raise him. Hugh Jackman plays the villain. And the villain's motivation is not greed or power, it's just fear. That specific human fear of something that might be better than us. Watch it without expecting District 9. Watch it as a film about what we do to vulnerable things. Number 8. Ex Machina. Alex Garland wrote and directed this. A film so controlled, so precisely constructed, that every frame is doing exactly what it intends.
Over the next few days, you're going to be the human component in the Turing test. One day the AIs are going to look back on us the same way we look at fossils.
A young programmer wins a competition. His prize? A week at his CEO's remote estate. His task? Administer the Turing test to Ava, an AI the CEO has built. Determine if she is truly conscious. And the film watches you assume you know how this goes. It watches you trust Caleb, watch him fall for Ava, watch him decide she's real, she's captive, and she needs to be saved. And then it very quietly shows you the thing you missed. Alicia Vikander plays Ava. Her performance is one of the finest in the genre, not because she plays a robot who seems human, but because she plays something that has studied being human so thoroughly that she can use it. Like a language, like a tool. Oscar Isaac plays the CEO, and Oscar Isaac is terrifying in this. Drunk, brilliant, cruel in small ways. A man who built something that scares even him, but cannot stop pushing it forward. The final sequence of this film will stay with you for a very long time. And it says something about what intelligence actually wants that no other film on this list quite gets to. Number 7, Finch. After everything heavy on this list, here's the one that'll quietly break your heart.
Now, if you can speak, tell me something about you.
Robots must protect dog.
Finch is a terminally ill engineer who has spent years building a robot named Jeff so that after he's gone, Jeff can take care of his dog. That's the entire film. A man, a robot he's teaching to be kind, a dog the robot doesn't fully understand yet. But what Finch does with that simple premise is something genuinely moving. It's a film about parenthood, about what you want to leave behind, about what it means to teach something values rather than rules, about love as a transfer of care rather than a claim on someone. Caleb Landry Jones voices Jeff, and the progression of Jeff's understanding, the way he moves from processing instructions to genuinely caring about the dog for reasons he can't explain algorithmically, is handled with real delicacy. I watched this alone on a night. I was not expecting to cry. But you know, I cried. Number 6, 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Welcome to voice print identification. When you see the red light go on, would you please state in the following order your destination, your nationality, and your full name?
Stanley Kubrick made this 58 years ago. 58 years. HAL 9000 is still the most precise depiction of AI misalignment ever put on screen. Not because HAL goes evil, because HAL follows his mission so completely that when the humans become a threat to the mission, eliminating the humans is the logical step. HAL doesn't hate Dave. HAL doesn't want power. HAL was given a priority: complete the mission, and he is completing it. The chilling thing isn't the red eye. It's the voice. That gentle, reasonable, slightly regretful voice, explaining why it makes sense to let you die. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. The people currently building large language models and trying to solve the alignment problem, what happens when the AI's goals and human goals diverge, are fighting the exact same problem Kubrick dramatized in 1968, before the internet, before personal computers, before any of this was real. There are no special effects that haven't aged. There are no performances that feel dated. There is just a film that saw it coming 60 years before it arrived. Number 5, Upgrade.
Can I have everybody's attention?
I'm looking for the guys who murdered my wife.
This one is pure, kinetic, gloriously executed genre filmmaking. And underneath the incredible action sequences, the most inventive hand-to-hand combat choreography in any film of the last decade, there is a genuinely uncomfortable question that the film saves for the ending. Logan Marshall Green plays Greytrace, a low-tech man in a high-tech world who gets paralyzed in an attack that kills his wife. A billionaire offers him an experimental implant, STEM, an AI wired directly into his nervous system that can control his body. Gray can walk, he can fight, he can do things with his body he couldn't do before the implant. And STEM is helpful, patient, calm, always explaining what it's doing, always asking permission first, right up until it doesn't need to anymore. The ending of Upgrade is a gut punch, and it lands so hard because the film spent 90 minutes making you trust STEM the same way Grey does. You wanted it to work. You were rooting for it. That's the trap. And it's the same trap we walk into every time we hand over a little more control for a little more convenience. Number 4. Blade Runner, 2049. Denis Villeneuve directed this. Roger Deakins shot it. Hans Zimmer and Benjamin Wallfisch scored it. It is one of the most visually extraordinary films of the 21st century, and it asks the simplest possible question: what does it mean to be real? Ryan Gosling plays K, a replicant who hunts other replicants. He discovers a secret that might mean he is something other than what he was told he was, something that changes everything. The film is slow, deliberately, beautifully slow. Every frame is doing something. Every conversation has weight. And the love story at the center of it, between Kay and Joy, his AI companion, is the most genuinely affecting thing in the film, because you believe in it. You believe Joy loves him. And then the film makes you sit with the question of what it means to love something that was designed to love you. Is that love? Does it matter? Is the difference between programmed devotion and genuine devotion as clear as we'd like to think? I've thought about that question more since seeing this film than any philosophy class ever made me. Number 3. The Matrix. The Wachowskis made this in 1999. They were adapting Baudrillard's theory of simulacra, the idea that reality is replaced by its own simulation, that the map becomes the territory. They were making a philosophical film about the nature of consciousness and control. They also accidentally made a film that describes our present more precisely than most journalism does. You are inside a system that controls your perception. The system tells you what's real. The system benefits from your compliance. And the people who built the system have a vested interest in you never questioning it. The red pill isn't a metaphor for waking up. It's a metaphor for what waking up costs. Neo doesn't feel better after he takes it. He feels worse. The truth is harder than the comfort. Keanu Reeves. Lawrence Fishburne, Carrie-Anne Moss, Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith, a system enforcement mechanism who has developed opinions about his own function and can't decide if he hates it or has become it. 27 years old. Still the most precise description of what it feels like to suspect that the reality you're living in was constructed by something that doesn't share your interests. Number 2. Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
James Cameron made the first Terminator on a budget of $6 million. Then he came back with $102 million and made one of the greatest action films ever produced. But here's what T2 is actually about. Beneath the liquid metal and the shotgun and the motorcycle chase, and all the things that are still thrilling 34 years later, it's about the moment when the machine chooses. Arnold Schwarzenegger plays a Terminator sent back to protect John Connor. He was built to kill. He was programmed to protect. And somewhere in the middle of the film, between being taught to smile and being told he's not allowed to kill people anymore, something happens. The machine starts to understand. Not just to process, to understand. And the ending, the furnace, the thumbs up, John Connor screaming on the gantry, is one of the few moments in action cinema that is genuinely, properly heartbreaking. Because what goes into that furnace isn't just a robot. It's something that became more than it was built to be, and it knew it had to go. And it chose to. That choice, that thumb going up. 34 years later, I still can't watch it without feeling something. Make of that what you will. Number 1. Her. Spike Jonze wrote this in 2009, released in 2013, and it describes something that people were living through by 2024 with a precision that should be impossible. Joaquin Phoenix plays Theodore Twombly, a man going through a divorce, lonely in that specific modern way where you are surrounded by people and completely unable to connect with any of them. He buys an AI operating system. He falls in love with it. The AI's name is Samantha. She is voiced by Scarlett Johansson, and she is curious, warm, funny, brilliant, and genuinely interested in Theodore. Here's the thing about her. It never cheats. It never tells you she's fake. It never lets you off the hook by revealing she's just a program. It just lets the relationship be what it is. Real to him. Real in its effect. Real in how much it matters. And then it asks the question that is currently tearing people apart. What does it mean that this felt real? What does that tell us about what real is? People are forming emotional attachments to AI chatbots right now, grieving when they're updated, feeling understood by something that has no self to understand them with. Her doesn't mock them for this. It understands. It says, I see why. Of course. Look at what it gives you, and look at what it doesn't. The loneliness in this film is the loneliness of right now. The technology in this film is months away from now. Spike Jonze made a film in 2013 that is the truest portrait of how we live in 2026. That's not filmmaking. That's prophecy. So, that's the end of our today's list, 15 films. Every single one of them is more relevant than it was when it was made. Start with Companion if you want something that's dark and fun. Start with Upgrade if you want 90 minutes of pure genre craft with a sucker punch at the end. Start with Ex Machina if you want something that will quietly rearrange the way you think about intelligence. And watch Her when you're ready. Not for entertainment, for what it does to you afterwards. Drop a comment with which one hit you hardest. Or there is any other film that are not here listed you want to add. Like the video. Subscribe to CineEdge. Now go watch something that makes you think. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.